Yeah, welcome back to Russell Hurley Flood Watch. Now you can see that the reservoir here is actually pretty much topping capacity there. We've only had a few days rain, heavy rain, but we have had heavy rain. Now the thing is, the Victorians would have never have done this. In the 1960s, they put the modern filter beds, which are still based on old filter bed technology, lower than the reservoirs. So if the reservoirs breach, you lose your water supply. Over there, if you look carefully, you can see diggers moving sand around. Now this is the modern version of the old Victoria beds. The sand is reused over and over again to help settle the water and take out various unwanted processes from the water. If you look right over there, you can see piles of sand. These guys are continually bustling around, you know, moving sand from one tank to another. Isn't that amazing? So here we have the fabulous copper mill, which predates Victorian buildings, and you can trace this way back on the maps. Typically Italianate tower there. A lot of Victorian additions, you can see Victorian style. Now right behind that is the Victorian stream that comes down here. It's an original feeder off the River Lee. It doesn't have its own source to feed them. It comes down quite a long way and then goes left in regional. At this point, so a quick look at the condition of looking nice. Junction. Let's go. Hi there. In the course of my research, I've highlighted what I would call a new Russell Hurley flood spot hotspot. This is one of them. This is where the original copper mill stream exited the copper mill and then was heading down to the rejoin River Lee. It should be free flowing and reasonably fast flowing as well, but as you can see by this, well, can't see any moving water. We obviously need to take a close look, so let's have a quick look here now. So here we have the, well, unless it was renamed, it may have in the 18th and 19th century, it was the copper stream feeding. It says here, in the event, usual sign would be put up probably in the 80s, I thought, in the event of a partial auto blockage of the waterworks at or near this bridge, please call the available. I doubt that won't exist. What was happening here is the copper mill stream runs under there, and apparently, speaking to the security guy that questioned my presence the other day, they used to clear this out up until about 10 years ago. It's quite an important area. We used to dredge this and clear it out, just about make the water level over there with the moss and stuff. Now this goes under yet again, a very close call between modern used railways and the reason why this is particularly low, it was never actually built. It was the original stream outlet from stream. Look carefully, you can see this rail here. It's a Victorian steel decaying, but this one has been rebuilt and the water is up there. Little bit. Further this goes on to the River Lee, that's just literally over there by those trees, it just seems to come to an end. You know, it's not only unnavigable, it's unserviceable and hasn't been touched for probably 50, 60 years. Isn't it amazing? Russell Hurley Flood Watch. As we sweep across from the lovely Walthamstow marshes and reach possibly the most east photogenic place of all. This is an area of extreme stream open, but the copper mill stream lies just behind here, or in front of me here. Going there, 300 meters away. Now to the right, where that tree line is, was the original waterworks. Aqueduct all filled in now. So there's quite a lot of water build-up. Well, there's been a lot of change. This railway line was actually here. This is the part of the original Walthamstow curve, which the Victorians put in. But the tree line over there, hardly anything to see there over there. Quite incredible. A lot of water heading down there. A lot of other work that's happened in the meantime with regards to additional reservoirs and stuff. But, you know, it wasn't, even though it is artificially managed, i.e. Victorian managed, it still came from the River Lee, which source various different sources and wells go all the way up to Hertfordshire. And that water is still heading down its natural magnetic course, hence you will always have water here. Now what is interesting is planning has just been passed to actually lower the bridge previously. So cyclists can now actually cycle in under this original what was actually referenced as a sheep and cattle pass, believe it or not, next to the Coppermill stream that's in there and hardly even noticed. But what will happen? They're going to dig here, and so the planning commission has been passed. They're going to dig down, and it's actually going to be cut below water level. It's going to be quite interesting. I'm not saying, don't do that. You know, I'm all for it. But it's actually going to be below water level there. You can always see, you can already see water coming through the walls there, and slight groundwater. As I said, nothing to be worried about at all at the time. But it is going to be rather interesting because they're now going to plan to go down, and of course that's below the level of the Coppermill stream. So my recommendation, my first and initial recommendation would be to actually dredge. You're never going to get rid of water here. You need to dredge at least from here, preferably from Coppermill itself, down and clear this out onto the original river, which is just over. So on this quite dark day, perhaps for July, the end of July, just a bit further down from where I was prior, Riverlea is to my exact right, the Hackney border is to my right. There you can see the buildings. But to my left, going sweeping back here, you see the slightly raised area. Contrary to popular belief, it's not a railway line, it's the filled-in East London Waterworks aqueduct, which was latterly converted into a dam, and you can still see evidence further over. So here we are now, coming to the end of the latest East London Waterworks research. I realise it's windy, and you may possibly have wind interference on this clip, so I'm speaking maybe slightly slower, maybe slightly louder than I would normally do. That's the original moor ditch there, heading out onto the River Lee, latterly underpassing the River Lee and becoming part of the Victorian sewage system, which sort of basically heads that way. Not that concerned about that, apart from remaining open parts that still remain today. So I'm just redoing that close, well, hopefully out of the wind, that last bit. What I did so in the previous clip, which is highly, not only unnavigable, but unhearable. This is the remaining evidence of a dam, put it. Even some of the historical websites themselves say it's a myth. It's a myth. Myths. You know, myths and weird things about the River Lee, you know, it was never dammed, etc, etc. Well, I'll be damned. This was put in shortly after the aqueduct to my right was closed off. They knew what was going on. They probably read the plans. This was probably, I don't know the date of this, I haven't researched it, I have my hands up. It's not my main interest. I mean, by the look of the concrete, I would say between 1940s to 1930s to 1950s maximum. You've got quite high rock concentration there, concrete, quite thick. And as I said,
in the previous clip, which I'm not sure whether you heard. I will include that previous clip because right now I'm incorporating all the rushes, but basically what I said is I'm utterly convinced that even though we've got cattle here now managing this marshes, I'm convinced that within 10 years this will be a no-go area because due to the I could say debauchery, but some people say it's legit, building on things like the River Ching and blocking off the water. This water has to struggle down here, and all these outlets, strangely enough, come back onto the river. Initially we build a massive channel, and like David Cameron in 20 years time is forced, or whoever his successor is to build like a £200 billion channel down from up there where all the water comes from. Basically at the moment all the water heads to this River Lee, original River Lee. You can see those properties there are actually lower than where I'm standing now. Isn't it interesting? Join me. Right, moving on to conclude this brief update today. You can see the trees there in the moor ditch. It was actually split into two. There was the short hill ditch that ran over there, and then there was the moor ditch that ran there. It goes all the way back up to the apartments and beyond and up to the Pump House Museum. And you can see here today that the Victorian stuff is still in use today. Look down there, it smells awfully. I don't know whether you can see that. Look in the mirror there, you can see fast flowing sewage. That concludes that. I'm no longer interested. I've moved on from that. But isn't that interesting, bearing in mind, just on a final point, isn't that interesting that that fast flowing water actually goes below the present day flood relief canal, which in itself is not even representing half the water that should be going down there. Join us